Hi everyone, and welcome to Moon Rain Tarot. Today's reading is called Awaken Your Dreams, and it's inspired by the astrology of right now. So Venus just moved into Aries on April 30th, and if you've been feeling like you're almost ready to move forward on something such as a dream, a desire, a creative pull, but haven't quite had the energy or clarity until now, you're not alone. So let's talk about why that is. Venus rules what we value in love, creativity, money, and in ourselves. Aries rules action, independence, and courage. So when Venus moves into Aries, we start getting a little bit bolder about what we want and less apologetic about going after it. But this isn't the first time that Venus has been here. Back in February and March, Venus entered Aries but then retrograded. And for many of us, that brought up false starts, emotional confusion, or unexpected delays. You may have had plans or hopes that felt exciting at first, but then they fizzled or life pulled you in another direction. Now that Venus is direct again and stepping into her morning star phase, the energy is very different. Morning star Venus is raw, it's brave, and it's ready to move. In many ways, it's kind of like the Aries energy where you have independent feeling, honesty, and focusing on self-worth. Now, why this spread matters is because it's here to help you reconnect with a dream that might have gotten buried over the last few months. Maybe it's something you started back in March or February, or something you didn't give yourself enough permission to pursue it after. Whatever it is, now is the time to revisit it, but with more clarity, more confidence, and more purpose. The spread that we're about to do will help you figure out what dream is awakening within you, what you're being called to take action, what fears are holding you back, what strengths are emerging, and what your first real step towards that goal is. Now, before we start, I'm going to talk about the piles and give you a few minutes so you can choose a pile before we start. So the first pile here we have is flanked by the rose quartz. And then we have your second pile here, which has the little tiger's eye on top of it. And lastly, the third pile will have the lapis lazuli, which is a pretty big guy here. So like I said, I'm just gonna have you close your eyes or just take nice deep breaths. Do a light cleansing here. And we'll start the reading in just a minute. All right, pile one, this message is for you. If you picked the rose quartz, I'm gonna put this to the side as well as these. And pick two oracle cards here for more in-depth and nuanced message. This is for pile one. Okay. Let's go with Wisdom of the Oracle and Animal Apothecary. All right. Right off the bat, I'm seeing a lot of wands here. The Knight of Wands, the Page of Wands, as well as Five of Wands reversed. Okay. Oh, that's really interesting. If you see regeneration and the Queen of Pentacles have a very similar tree on both of these here. All right. And I'm already seeing correlations between the Oracle deck here with the Page of Wands. So let's start asking what the dream is awakening within you. So that starts out with the Knight of Wands. So right now you're craving movement, freedom, and a bold experience, something that's not your typical path, whether it's traveling to an unknown destination that's kind of out of your comfort zone, launching a creative pursuit or hobby, or even chasing a dream that's not necessarily what others thought that you might pursue. This card stirs up more of an adventurous side that you might not have been in touch with for quite some time. The lizard at the center reminds you that this is a time for renewal. And also, it beckons you to remember that in order to move forward to this path, small steps are the way to go. So it's kind of showing you how this small step here from the lizard or gecko is what creates or fuels the passion of the horse here. Now, when it comes to where are you being called to take this bold action, you have the Six of Cups. So this looks like this dream may be tied to your past, maybe a childhood aspiration, an old hometown, a vision that you kind of carried quietly for years. Now is the time to revisit this. What used to light you up, what gave you joy and happiness. It may hold the key to your next chapter. And here we have the Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is something that you have to, a fear that you must release. Like the child here that's kind of gazing towards an unknown horizon, not knowing how to move forward, kind of stuck in that tree. You may fear that there's no real clear direction, you don't know what path to take. It's all blank, it's a mist, right? But just as the lizard in the night reminds you, you have to start small. Curiosity and wonder are enough to move you forward, even if you don't have a clear path at this time. And at the same time, as I mentioned before with regeneration here with the Oracle, it's very reminiscent of this. It's actually looking like a mirror image, and it's showing you that this is the time to start anew. So it's kind of harkening back to your past and saying, start fresh, start with what made you happy when you were a child. And now here, what inner strength is ready to bloom? And as you can see here, you have the Five of Wands, where everybody's kind of in a conflict, different egos clashing, right? But since it's reversed, it's showing that you really have a great sense of harmonizing, an ability to step back from conflict, be calm, be resolute, help bring others together. This strength is often overlooked and can help you navigate messy beginnings and rally support for you to pursue your dreams. And lastly, here you have the Queen and the Queen of Pentacles. And this is going to answer what is the first step towards your dreams. The Queen of Pentacles is kind of anchoring your spread here. So you have a lot of that very fiery spread here with your wands. It's kind of telling you to nurture your vision very slowly, ground your ideas, organize your time, make your dreams sustainable one step at a time. That means through careful planning, small consistent steps, and that will really get you further down your progress. And that's kind of harkens back to the little gecko here. And as what we mentioned before, this is kind of like saying it's okay to pursue what you have thought of in the past and you kind of just didn't allow yourself to pursue. Find joy in what you loved when you were a child. And here we have surrender to receive. Once you let go of control, things will get better in regards to your goal that you want to pursue. Now, just as a closing or final message, your soul is ready for a new adventure, one that defies convention, awakens long-held dreams, perhaps when you were a child, as we saw here in the Six of Cups. Let your fire lead, but let your planning help you sustain, and that you will see with the Queen of Pentacles. Passion initiates, but the structure is what will fulfill your dream. Now is the time to craft a path and not just chase the spark that you felt in the beginning. All right, well, thank you for watching. If this resonated, feel free to like or comment, and I'll see you in the next reading. All right, take care, guys. All right, pile 2, if you pick this pile, here's your message for today. I'm gonna shuffle here the animal apothecary. Oh, Earl, blinking out here. Okay. Just pick the one that's poking out here. All right. All right, so we start off with the Seeker. Second card is Ten of Wands, Four of Pentacles, the Page of Cups, and the Page of Swords. And then we have Mending. And I feel like these are two opposing forces. And I feel like this has a lot to do with the Page of Cups and the Page of Swords because they're moving away from each other. You can see the Page of Swords, it's kind of moving towards the future or towards his right, and then we have the Page of Cups kind of looking back towards the left, so back. And we have Evolve into Your Complexity, which I feel kind of reminds me of the moon here. All right, so let's start the reading. So the first question we have is, what dream is awakening within you? So we have the Seeker here, and I want you to kind of take a look here at the boundary between Earth and the celestial sky and how prominent the moon is in this particular illustration. So the moon shows that you're kind of holding on to a dream that you haven't really shared with others, and you can see that clearly as his head is outside that earthly plane, right? And that's okay. You might still be kind of figuring out. You're not ready to explain just yet what your thought process is about your goals, your desires, or your dreams. There's a lot of emotional energy around this particular card, specifically as you see the moon kind of looking down, subtly smiling at the Fool or the Seeker. So right now you could be doing some quiet inner work, working on something outside your normal job, like a hobby or creative project, and that kind of harkens back to like the Lenormand meaning for the moon here. So I would be saying like creative pursuit, like a hobby, a creative project that you might be working on, but you're not really sure how to bring forward. You may also feel called to grow personally or let go of any type of emotional baggage as you're leaving that earthly plane. But a part of you hesitates to stir things up, right? This card shows that while your dream is really big and it's real, it's still in its formation process. It still hasn't really materialized and moved on to Earth, right? And right now, you're probably thinking that in order for this to kind of move forward and progress, that you need time and space to really work on it. So the question here for the second card is, what are you being called to take action? This is the Ten of Wands. So right now, it looks like you're doing too much. The Ten of Wands shows that you're overloaded mentally, emotionally, maybe even physically. This might be part of why you're not pursuing your dreams just yet, because you simply don't have the energy. Maybe you haven't set boundaries. You might not be pouring your time into others while neglecting yourself. This card is telling you take time, step back. Maybe you need a reset. Maybe you need a self-care routine, even if it means saying no more often. And let's look at the third card. Third question is, what fear do you need to release? So right here, it's showing that you have a fear of losing control, especially around resources, time, or asking for help. You might think that if you don't handle everything yourself, it won't get done right. But this mindset is blocking your ability to move forward. This card speaks to money worries as well. Maybe you're afraid that if you pursue something new, maybe you'll lose financial stability, but that fear is just a thought. It's your fears mostly and not your reality. And you have more support than you realize. So this shows that you do have abundance, but it's your mentality that's blocking you. It's time to find ways to delegate to others when you need support. What strength is ready to bloom? So you have the Page of Cups. So the Page of Cups reminds you that you have a creative side. Your imagination, your ability to find joy, and even in small things, is ready to come forward. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to reconnect what makes you feel good and just start small. Remember, you may have some sort of artistic or intuitive gifts that will help you in life and moving forward to this dream or goal that you might have, or any aspiration that you're wanting to pursue. And this is a card that's letting you giving you permission to start using them again. Now, what's the first step you need to take in order for this to occur? You have the Page of Swords. It's time to speak up. You need to clearly communicate your needs to others in order for you to actually pursue what you want. This means setting better boundaries for yourself, being honest about what you can and can't take on. Once you do that, you'll be able to free up energy to focus on what actually matters to you. So it's not just in your mind, right? So it's not just in your thoughts, but in actually be able to materialize here on earth. So, kind of a closing message for all of this is this reading shows that you're ready to move forward. Right now, you're kind of tinkering in the background, figuring out what's you want to do. Maybe there's a creative outlet, a second job, or you've been thinking about for a while. But if you don't make space for it and you are putting yourself in the back burner, it's gonna feel like you're gonna be stuck for quite some time. The Ten of Wands and the Page of Swords together say that you really do need boundaries, better time management, and permission to take care of yourself. Your dream doesn't need to be huge right now, but it does need to be real. So in order for it to be real and here on the earthly plane, you have to start small, protect your energy, and make time for yourself. So now we move on to the oracle. So it says to evolve into your complexity. So I feel like this kind of goes back into the very beginning where we have the Fool, and where, like I mentioned before, he's kind of going into that celestial plane, not necessarily into the earthly realm. And it's showing how you're just kind of like lost in your thoughts, thinking about what you want to do, but not necessarily doing anything about it. And right here with mending, I really think that it's showing this particular dynamic between the Page of Cups as well as the Page of Swords. As you can see, the Page of Cups is looking back, right? So it's kind of harking back to your childhood. It's showing like, do you remember the time when you felt joy and happiness and those creative pursuits that you took as a child or as a young adult, right? And but in order for this to happen, you also have to kind of balance with the energy of the Page of Swords. It's kind of showing you the future, right? He's moving on or looking towards the right. So this is telling me that in order for this to happen, then, you know, you have to set some boundaries, some limitations, some self-care, allowing for routine, self-care routines in order for you to actually have the energy to pursue things that make you happy and joyous. And if it's not necessarily a creative pursuit, at least another job that you may be pursuing, All right. Well, I hope that this reading resonated. If it did, please feel free to like or comment, and I'll see you in the next reading. Thank you so much. All right, group 3. If you chose this pile, this message is for you. This one had the lapis lazuli. It's beautiful stone here. I believe this one was from Peru. This one. This is just for pile 3. Put these to the side for now. Okay. Oh, very interesting. Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands. Feel like if most of you who picked 3 were also debating whether to pick 2, because it's going to have a very similar feel. Oh yeah, for sure. It even has the 10 of Wands as well. Okay. So let's start here. Grab the Oracle decks before we continue. You are what you think, and bending again. Wow, okay. This is incredibly similar to this second group. It even has the same oracle card. That's really crazy. Okay, we'll pull a couple of more things just to see if there's anything new to say here. So let's start out with what dreams is awakening within you. So we have the 7 of Swords. And now this card's a little tough. This card tells me that you've been thinking about a dream or maybe a personal goal that you haven't really shared with many people. This card is something you may feel very guilty about for wanting, or something that goes against what others expect from you. It might involve walking away from a path you've kind of outgrown, putting yourself first in a way that really feels unfamiliar. So whatever this may be, this card is asking for strategy. This dream isn't impulsive or emotionally loud. It's quiet, it's private, it's still forming, and you're not necessarily fully in just because you just don't feel like it's right. You're not ready to make a big move yet, but you're being asked to start thinking through what this dream might require of you. So where are you being called to take action? We have the Knight of Cups in reverse right now. This message is don't lead with emotion, because the Knight of Cups is about emotion, right? It's asking you to lead with clarity. You may feel being pulled in multiple emotional directions, or feeling uncertain of what's real and what's fantasy, but the reversal of the Knight of Cups tells you to slow down, think clearly, because if you do act from emotion or impulse, you might lose focus or get distracted from what really matters in regards to your desire or goals. It's time to get grounded, practical about this dream. It's time to make a plan, break it into smaller steps, and remember the structure. Now, what fears do you need to release? You have the reversal of the Knight of Wands. You may be telling yourself you don't have the energy, the drive, or motivation, and that's okay. It's normal to feel stuck sometimes, and that kind of is reminiscent of the 10 of Wands, which also has that very same feeling. But don't confuse low energy with failure. This card reminds you that momentum doesn't come from hype, right? It doesn't come from just when you're feeling that sense of inspiration. It comes from consistency and small steps. You don't need to feel on fire to start. You just need to show up and do one tiny little small step. Let go of the fear that your spark isn't enough. Start where you are and kind of build from there. All right. So what inner strength is ready to bloom? And you got strength, which is really on the nose. This card is direct. It's clear. You've already faced difficult things in the past, and you've developed resilience. You're really good and calm under pressure, and you have really good inner discipline. You're not someone who needs to be loud or dramatic to make change. You know how to stay grounded even when your mind is spinning. That's where your strength lies, right? You're really good about being calm under pressure and have courage, right, to pursue things. Pair this with logic, planning, as we mentioned here with the Knight of Wands, and as well as the Knight of Cups. And you'll be able to move forward even if things still feel a little uncertain and shaky. And that's certainly true because the first step here that you're being asked to do by the Ten of Wands is letting go of pressure you're putting on yourself. You're carrying way too much. But this isn't a physical load. This is more of a mental load where you're having like self-imposed stress, maybe believing you have to do it all perfectly. This card is asking you to stop overloading yourself, asking for help, drop unnecessary burdens, focus on what actually matters. You don't need to push harder. You just need to do it correctly the first time and simplify. All right, so let's see here. I feel like this is a very mental heavy type of spread here. So when we have that strategic planning, not pursuing things in an emotional state, but being very clear and mental about it, and taking small steps, right? And allowing for things to unfold instead of just relying on just quick spark and motivation, and having that inner calm and not overburdening yourself. This is all like a mental block that you are experiencing. So I feel like this card is kind of reminding you that once you have these positive thoughts about like what to do and having a clear plan, things will fall into place. And this card here for mending, it's not necessarily reconciling like we had in the previous pile of like making boundaries and having joy and rekindling that sense of joy or spark in your life. This is more about kind of going back and trying to understand what is blocking you. So this is for me more of a pile, like if you chose three, is more of just trying to figure out what is blocking you from moving forward. You won't even, I feel like with this particular card, which is trying to explain what kind of desires and goals that you have, like I feel like you don't feel like you're worthy enough to have a goal, and you're not necessarily materializing, and it's hard for you to even come up with something because you just don't feel worthy. So in closing, you may or may not have a big loud dream right now, and that's okay. What's awakening within you is something more subtle, maybe a plan, a quiet calling, like we mentioned with the Seven of Swords. But it's all kind of going back to a desire to do things differently. In order to move forward, we talked about like starting to release the pressure to be perfect, let go of fear over responsibility as like the Ten of Wands. Rely on your inner strength, the part of you that stays calm under pressure, like the strength card that we have here, that you're able to overcome things that are really stressful in life. You're not behind, you're not lost, you're just being asked to think clearly, plan carefully, and act with confidence, like what you do have inside you. And since I mentioned it was somewhat similar to the previous pile two, we're just going to add a little something here. See if we can get a little information. I'm going to use the story dice. Pile three. Okay. All right. So with the wall and the helmet here and the forest, I have a feeling that this is showing a sense of needing to retreat and a defense this to me all shows defense, right? Like either retreating or defense or offense, right? So in a way, it's showing how you're putting up a wall in order not to pursue things. And this is more of a mental wall, like you are making the excuse of not wanting to pursue things because you're afraid of what might actually happen. And the reason why you're afraid is because you might feel like you're not going to be able to make money off of this pursuit. Okay, so we see here, I think this was with the mathematical symbols here. Yeah. Yeah, this to me shows like you just have a fear of financial loss with these right here, and you like mentally imposing these things that you're just not good enough in order for you to move forward in these things. You're not even allowing yourself to dream. Okay, well, like I said before, thank you for watching. If this reading resonated, feel free to comment or subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. All right, thank you for joining me today. This Venus in Aries energy is about reconnecting with your desire, your direction, and your sense of self-worth. So whether your dream is something new or something you've been carrying for a while or something you just begin to give yourself permission to explore, now is a powerful time to take even the smallest steps forward. If this reading helped and you got clarity or motivation, feel free to like or comment below, and I'd love to hear what part resonated with you. And if you want more readings like this, grounded, astrology aligned, and focused on real life clarity, make sure to subscribe. And take care of yourself and move with purpose. And I'll see you back in the next one. All right, guys, take care.